Sports on Tap Detroit, brought to you by the Realtors of the Joe Wright Group, Jason Stiltner of Flagstar Bank, Aldman Entertainment.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, we loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With news that's jaw dropping, they getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening, if you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and ride with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Forward down the field, a Lions team that will not yield. And when the blue and silver wave, you stand and cheer the brave. Rah, rah, rah!
It's a good intro. I like that. With that, welcome to episode 154 of Sports on Tap Detroit, alongside Joe Waddell. I am Chris Scott. Joe, how are you doing?
I'm good, man.
That's solid.
I'm good.
Nicely done.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm good. I had a good week fantasy-wise, a couple weeks in a row now.
Nice.
I've avoided some injuries, and
yeah, that seems to be a plague going around the NFL.
There's a lot of injuries, man. In my work league, though, I actually have CMC and Kenneth Walker, which was my first and my third round pick, and I still lead the league in scoring.
That's pretty
so
good.
It's not bad. I'm doing all right. If I get another injury or two, though, I'm fucked. So we'll see.
Hey, don't worry, I'm sure it's coming.
That's
just the way this season is trending, and we kind of talked about it before the show started as what we feel as what's kind of causing all these injuries, and kind of like how we did with baseball, what's causing all these pitchers' injuries. Trying to get to the bottom of it, what we think it is, and frankly, to me, it only seems to be one thing: it's lack of preseason.
It's
you go from doing nothing.
It could be a few things, but I believe it really is. I think the game obviously keeps getting faster, and the athletes keep getting better.
Right.
The collisions are harder.
Yep.
But with that being said, I believe it really is. There's a portion of the preseason that preseasons used to be tougher. Like they really got the players in shape. They played 3 preseason games, or at least half of 2 preseason games, 3/4 of one, and then the last game was basically to round out the roster. None of the starters played. You had all the backups play to see who was going to make the team.
Right.
And now I feel like none of the starters get any playing time in the preseason.
No.
They kind of come in, they take it easy on the stars. They don't overwork them. They don't do that. And then when they get into the regular season, we're seeing a lot of tissue injuries too.
Yeah, it's like a go time.
Hamstrings.
Yeah.
And calf muscle strains and
Achilles.
Like there's a lot of that going on, man. And I truly believe that you and I are right. I believe it really has a little bit to do, at least a little bit to do with the preseason.
Because obviously these guys are working out all off season. Because that's just what athletes do now. They work out. It's like a 365-day thing now, which I get. But you're right. I think a lot of it is in preseason. They're not, I guess, playing as much as they used to in preseason. Even in practice, they're not. And then you come into the regular season, and it's just like you're 100% go.
Well, and
that doesn't work out well.
No, and working out at home is much different than playing football against other athletes.
Yep.
It's just different, man.
It is. It's like I said. It's hard to just work out, okay, and then go. It's not. It just does. It rarely works. So, yeah, you're seeing a lot of guys go down, and a lot of star players go down.
Well, let's go through them a little bit. So McCaffrey's already on IR. Puka Nakua's on IR. Marquise Brown's on IR. J.J. McCarthy was on IR. Nick Chubb.
Yep.
Odell Beckham. And then if you go to the injuries that have happened just this week, A.J. Brown went down with a hamstring in practice. Cooper Kupp, ankle injury. So A.J. Brown expected to miss multiple games. He already missed last night. He's expected to miss at least one more. Cooper Kupp, they're talking about an extended period of time as an absence. They already lost Puka Nacua.
Yep.
You're talking about he's going to be possibly going on IR or missing multiple games.
Yep.
Isaiah Pacheco had a fractured fibula. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. Deebo Samuel expected to miss multiple games. Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're downplaying his injury a little bit, so he might be able to go against Arizona. The sun god might be able to play in Arizona. Justin Jefferson, basically they're calling it a contusion. He's looking like he's going to be able to play. Justin Herbert is questionable, maybe not able to play. Might be able to give it a go in week 3, not sure. I mean, you're seeing a lot of injuries, and it's not just to like role play players. It's to guys who mean a lot to their teams. And you can't, nothing can cut down on a broken bone or a fractured fibula. But like these tissue and muscle injuries.
Yeah.
And it's just some of those I believe really has to be chalked up to the preseason being what it is now.
Well, shit, you look at the Bills secondary. Like one of the 2 of their best players are out. 3 of them, if you think about it, and Milano too. Like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yep. Jeremy says, "Here's an overreaction for you." Oh no, we suck again.
Well, with that, let's hop into week 2. Just kind of run down some of these games, anyways.
No!
Yes.
We suck again!
It was kind of an ass backwards week in the NFL.
There was a lot of quote unquote upsets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, even if it was a couple of points,
but it was
still upsets.
Yeah, not something you're like, oh yeah, I totally saw that coming, because no, you didn't.
Right.
Like, I mean, we'll start off with the Thursday nighter. Bills going to Miami and pound the Dolphins, which I'm always happy to see. Josh Allen didn't have to do anything. Literally didn't have to do shit.
No, and
like here, James, run, go.
And for listen, if you're going to expect James Cook to do that every week, it's not going to happen. At this point in his career, even though it's not a huge long career, at this point in his career, 3 years, 4 years, you know what he is.
Yeah.
He has the ability to break it off, and Miami's defense was non-existent almost.
Oh, it was bad.
So, listen, he had a great game. I wouldn't expect that from him all the time. Josh Allen's going to have to throw the ball a lot more in other games coming up here.
I agree.
But it was
nice to see them actually do that.
They got the run game going,
Yeah.
and really they stuck with it, which is what they haven't done in the past.
Exactly.
It was good for them. Good to see them do that.
It was
like you give Josh Allen a game off, basically. You know what I mean? Like let him rest his arm, let him rest his legs.
Yeah.
And they could have they coasted in that win is what happened, especially after Tua went down, and that's the other injury that we saw.
Yeah, I like how the Bills defense played even before Tua went down. I thought they were very, very aggressive to the ball. A lot of big hits. I'm like, okay, this is what I want to see from the Bills defense, you know. But yeah, to his injury, man, God, when you see a guy go into like the fencing position like that, it's like, dude.
Well, and he's saying he has no intention of retiring.
Hey,
and for me, like,
do whatever you want, man.
Well, it's your life, live it, man. But if I look at this, if this were my friend,
I would
be sitting him down and going, dude,
like, why?
And
if you say I'm not a quitter, I'm going to slap the shit out of you.
Yeah, no. At a certain point in time, like, okay, so they're saying this is his 4th
diagnosed
concussion.
Yeah.
Well, we know for a fact, that he had another one that they didn't report and they didn't actually identify.
Right.
So you're talking 5 concussions in the past 3 years, and 2 of them were brutal.
I'd say 3 of them were brutal.
Well, but like 2 of them, you saw him go like full on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny, but to quote somebody from work, he went full on throwing gang signs.
He did.
Twice. And that's scary, man. Like, if his family and his friends aren't sitting him down and going, you need to really think about this. Like, your life is worth more than football.
Dude,
I don't know what they're doing.
You got your money. Like nobody would give you any shit if you just said I'm done.
No, none.
And if they do, well, fuck that guy.
Actually, I think he would be smarter by doing that.
Yeah, like if anybody gave you shit, fuck that guy. Like you have kids and shit like that. Do you want to be a vegetable by the time you're like 50?
Shit, at this rate, it's going to be sooner than that for him. Like, it's getting bad with him, man. It's bad.
I like how you put that. Is like if he were my friend, I would tell him, "Hey, look, dude, this shit ain't worth it, man." But since I'm not his friend, hey, you want to play?
Well,
you're a grown ass man.
And
Do what you
listen,
want.
I believe everybody live your own life, man.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're a grown ass man. Live your own life. If I were to be able to give him any advice, it'd be, listen, man, you got to really think about it. You have a family, you have a life. Like, there's other things than football. You got to think about that. But
yeah, and again, nobody would look at you as a quitter
to each their own
or anything like that. So, I mean, he's obviously they put him on IR today, so he's going to be out at least the next 4 games. So we'll see if anything changes in that regard, which I don't think it's going to. And you'll see how it plays out from there. You know, I kind of hope in these next 4 weeks he gets some legitimate advice, and he can actually see it for what it is and be like, you know what? Okay, I see where you guys are getting at. I understand it.
Yeah, I hope so too, man.
I don't see that being the case.
I don't either. I think he'll come back and play, and I think he wants to come back and play, and and like you said, man, teach their own. That's your life, live it. But fuck, man, you just hate seeing that. When that happened, man, it was just like, Jesus Christ again.
Well, you hate seeing that, but one thing I don't hate seeing is the Cowboys getting absolutely throttled at home by a team that they shouldn't get throttled by.
Oh, they got fucking.
They got boat race, dude. I love it.
They got crushed in that game by New Orleans.
Oh,
and here's another one: New Orleans offense.
They scored like every possession.
I know it's only 2 weeks, but man, Clint Kubiak really has that offense
got it humming,
looking way different than it did last year.
That offense is buzzing for sure.
I mean, Derek Carr looks. He looks like an actual competent NFL quarterback.
He does. It's amazing. He truly does.
I mean, he borderline looks good.
I mean, if you're Frank right now, how pissed off do you got to be that he didn't look like this with Raiders?
Well, maybe the Raiders should have got Clint Kubiak to fucking coach the offense.
I mean, the Saints. I mean, they just walked in and just all right. Now, again, it's week 2, and it's still kind of overreaction time. But,
well, and that's the thing, right? So we literally a tale of 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And you said like there was a lot of weird shit happen this week.
Yeah. But like you look at
there's just it's so weird how 1 week a team looks like world beaters and the next week you're like, holy shit, are these the same guys?
Right, exactly.
Like, did you leave half your team at home? What happened?
But you look at the Cowboys offense. That offense is not very good.
No, all they have is CeeDee Lamb.
That's it. That offense is not good.
Well, Ferguson went down
in
the first game and didn't play the second game, so that you lost him, and he's not necessarily a world beater tight end, but at least he's worthy.
Serviceable, yeah. I mean, you take CeeDee Lamb out of the equation.
Oh, that's why they had to sign him. Right. They knew they had nothing after him, literally nothing.
But that kind of goes to what we were talking about before the show about these quarterbacks, and you're like, God, these quarterbacks are not very good. Like they really aren't. So another one, the Bucs came up to Detroit. Your boy Baker played well again, even though Hutchinson had a game. He was an animal.
He had 4.5 sacks, and that dude was flying all over the field. Like it was almost. I feel like he probably could have gotten 6 or 7 sacks if he really wanted to. I feel like he was doing whatever he wanted to that defense, to that offensive line.
He really was. But credit to Baker, he hung in there. You know, he ended up getting the job done. But you got to see it, like with the Lions getting all that pressure on Baker, and to still do what he did. What does that say about the Lions secondary?
They're still not good.
They're still not good. They're still not.
And I'm not going to overreact to that either because two of the guys back there are rookies.
Yeah.
A couple of them are second-year players. They're still young. And again, first couple weeks of the season, you're not going to overreact to much. I mean, like I said, you see, it's so black and white from 1 week to another.
It is.
That it's crazy.
But
it's crazy.
Going back to that though, I mean that was one of the issues with the Lions last year. Is their secondary was not very good, and it's continued into this season.
They definitely did not look very good in this game.
Do I
I'll
think
tell
their
you that.
pass rush is better this year? Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Aiden has grown exponentially as a football player.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that. But again, I think that's another thing that's going to be kind of maybe, I don't want to say a downfall of this team, but it's not obviously not going to help them. And then you had the debacle at halftime. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you doing? Like, it's another one where he cost you points.
Yeah.
That could have helped. Like, how many times does he have to do this till like fans just say, "Dude, what the hell is this idiot doing?" You know, but they're not going to do that.
No,
you know, they're not gonna do
for everybody listening out there, go ahead and tell what happened.
Oh, just like tried to set up for a field goal, and it was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. You get 3 points there. They're basically giving you 3 points, which I've still never understood why teams do this. Like opposing defenses do this shit at the end of halves. They just march down the field. We'll give you 3 points. To me, that's absurd. But teams do it all the time, and that's what the Bucs were doing basically.
I look at that, and I look at like the Atlanta game last night. If teams were to just play their offense as if it were the last 2 minutes of a half, but do it every drive,
right?
Like the offense would be insane.
Yeah, it would.
Because you saw Atlanta and Kirk Cousins last night, minute and 40-some seconds, minute and 41, I think, drove it down the field and scored a touchdown and win the game.
Prevent a win defense, baby.
And honestly, there was none
defense
played on that drive.
Except that
it was unbelievable.
So when they were down by the 7-yard line, that's when he decided to blitz them? Really? That's when you decided to blitz them? Good God. But yeah, like we've always said this, prevent a win defense.
Well, and talk about a coach making a play call to lose a game. When Philly's down there, why do you choose to throw the ball to Saquon Barkley? Granted, Saquon makes that catch 99% of the time.
You're
but why are you throwing the ball at all? Why aren't you just turning around and handing it off to him, running the clock more, let the clock run down? You could have let that shit run almost all the way down. You could have let it run down and take a fucking penalty and still kick the field goal because you have a good enough field goal kicker.
Not to mention,
like, what are you doing?
You were averaging 5+ yards a carry.
I just don't understand that at all. If anything's going to get him fired for me, it would have been that. Like, to me, it doesn't look like he's lost his team like we were talking before the season started. I feel like they do play for him, but that call right there, for me, if I own that team, I'd be like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
I did listen to an interview today with somebody from Philadelphia who covers the team, and yeah, that seat is a lot hotter than people think it is. Like, it's like, dude.
After that play call, I of course.
So, I mean, that's a game you can't lose. You had that game.
You had it locked up.
You did. Like, you had it locked up. Now, from the Atlanta side of it, they looked significantly better than they did in week 1.
Still not great.
Still not great, but they did look better than they. And I love literally the first play of the game they ran under center.
Yeah,
the first play
I know.
of the game.
after I told you the stat from last week,
They
where
didn't run
not
anything.
a single snap came from under center.
I loved it, and they used Bijan, which was good. He looked good.
Yes,
but still not using Kyle Pitts for whatever fucking reason.
Is it time to just say that Kyle Pitts really isn't that good? He just isn't what he was supposed to be?
I don't know.
I know it's only 2 games this year.
Nobody uses him. They don't use him. They just use him to block.
He's non-existent in the offense.
It's amazing to me. But
it's insane.
But they did look better. Again, like you said, still not sold on them yet, but they did look better. So good on them. And
the usage of Bijan was encouraging.
Yes.
Like that was, they used him all over the field.
Yeah, not taking him out like Arthur Smith's dumbass did last year.
Well, and they still played Algier, and Algier still got carries, but he basically spelled Bijan to give him a rest. It wasn't like,
no, you're the guy now.
Right. It wasn't like they put Algier in because they just wanted to take Bijan out and give Algier some carries. He spelled him. He gave him some rest, and they did use him, but the way they used Bijan was encouraging. They used him screen passes. They got him out in open space. They gave it to him between the tackles. They're relying on him more, and I believe that's going to continue throughout the season. You're going to see them rely on him more and more and more throughout the season.
You know what I what I absolutely love now, and I'm seeing a lot more of it now. And I've been saying this for years, and I know you kind of agree with this, just because it's one of my biggest pet peeves in football. Why are we running plays like a third and 1, 4th and 1 out of shotgun?
I don't know.
You know, it's been one of my biggest pet peeves for years.
But your other biggest pet peeve is the solution to that.
So,
Line up and tush push. First down every time.
generally, yes.
Like there's your two of your biggest pet peeves right together.
I would much rather them do the tush push than line up in shotgun on a short yardage situation. It drives me nuts.
You're taking yards away from
You
yourself.
are. It drives me fucking insane. I hate it. And now national analysts are starting to see this more and more, and they're like, "Why are you fucking doing this, guys?" I was saying this shit like 5 years ago. Like, why are we fucking doing this?
We've been talking about this for a while.
We have been 100%.
because teams started doing it. Now almost all of them do it.
I'm like, why are we doing this?
Your 3rd and 1, 4th and 1,
And you're starting 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
You're lining up in shotgun to where you're giving the other team 3 or 4 yards more.
Right.
Why?
And your running back has zero momentum running toward the line.
None.
Zero. So what are we doing? Why are we doing this? It makes zero fucking sense.
Lady friend says Chris has way more than 2 pet peeves. Yeah, no,
That's true.
I just meant 2 of his pet peeves now
Yes.
contradict each other a little bit.
Fair. But I'd rather see the tush push than lining up in shotgun in short yardage situations. It drives me fucking nuts. I mean, colleges will do it all the time, and I think with these younger quarterbacks, that's why they're fucking doing it. Because they don't line up under center. None of these quarterbacks line up under center. In college,
no. And like we talked about it too, is one of the reasons why I think there's so many quarterbacks that burn out or just don't make it in the NFL or look like shit. Bryce Young, who just got benched for Andy Dalton, literally.
Man.
Literally,
he is time itself.
Like, this guy is the title of a show on FX called The Old Man. Like, that's Andy Dalton coming into
the Red Rifle, baby,
coming into to quarterback the Panthers. But it's in college they can play this backyard bullshit, right?
Yep.
Because not everybody out on that field is at their level, right? They grow up. They're the best. They're the best there is in their peewee.
Yes.
Right? They're the best there is in their high school or grade school, then high school. They're the best there is in college. And then they get to the pros, they get to the NFL. You're no longer the best there is. You're
not Bret Hart.
You're part of a everybody's great. Everybody's the best in the NFL.
Yeah. I said you're not Bret Hart.
No, that you're not the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
No.
You are just one of many, and you can't play backyard football anymore. You can't just line up in shotgun and run around like a chicken with your head cut off. Although Kyler Murray had a great play this last weekend where he did just basically run around and somebody got open.
Oh, then he realized he had Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm like, hey, let me throw it to that guy.
Well, I think it was the first play of the game. It was a fucking touchdown.
Right.
Then it was like their third play of the game. Fucking long touchdown.
Oh wait, that guy's good. Maybe throw it to him. He's all right.
But I mean, Kyler's looked good the first 2 weeks. No matter what, though, he's looked really good.
I saw that Call of Duty's coming out. I think week 8, I believe. So we'll see how that goes.
Hey man, I'm all in on the Kyler train this year.
Oh, look at you, buddy.
I've said it. I've said it for a while now.
You did say it. So moving on to Colts Packers. To me, that's a bad loss for the Colts, man. I know it's in Lambeau. I understand that. But
no, it's a bad loss. Listen,
it's a bad loss.
It's Malik Willis. It's not Jordan Love.
No. And look at Richardson's stats, 204, 1 TD, and 3 picks.
Well, he had a horrible game. I'm going to listen, by all accounts, he's still a rookie.
Yes.
He played, 3 games last year?
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, so by all accounts, he's still a rookie. It was not very good. He passed for 204 yards, had 1 touchdown, 3 picks. He was 17 of 34. Not a good game from him, and I believe he would flat out fucking tell you that too. He needs to be better for Indianapolis to have a shot at winning games.
He certainly does.
And they got Jonathan Taylor going. He had 12 carries for 103 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So, one, you need to hand the ball to him more. He was getting 8.6 a pop. If you're averaging 8.6 yards a carry, hand the ball to him a little fucking more.
Yes.
don't have Anthony Richardson, who is having a bad game, throw it 34 times.
Well, going back to the Lions game. That's another thing. Why the fuck are you having Jared Goff throw it 55 times?
Well, so we'll go to that game again. I'm with you. They throw the ball with Jared Goff 55 times.
55 times.
And when your run game was actually working.
It was.
And you have two of the better running backs. You have one of the better tandems in the league, if not the best tandem in the league. And yet you're having Jared Goff drop back and throw the ball 55 times. And I think a little bit of that is arrogance by, I forget the offensive coordinator's name, Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, yeah.
I think a little bit of his arrogance by Ben Johnson. Everyone wants him. He runs a great offense. Everybody wants him. So he's trying to go out there and put on a show.
Right.
And I just don't understand it. They were in that game. It's not like they were getting blown out and had to throw the football.
No.
If you're having Jared Goff throw the football 55 times, you should be trailing by like 20 points for most of the game.
That should be like Matt Stafford Lions.
Right.
You know? That's exactly what that should be. But you honestly were in control of that game. You really were.
Yeah.
If you just kept running the ball, you'd have been fine. But I think to your point,
Yep.
A little cockiness, a little arrogance. All right, whatever, fine. I think that'll change this coming week against Arizona. But we'll see how that plays out.
Gibbs was getting 6.5 a pop.
Yeah.
And I believe Montgomery was he had a good game. I don't see his stats right here, but if you're having success running the football, and it's a close game,
Keep doing that?
why are you throwing the ball 55 times?
I don't know.
Why does your star wide receiver, who ended up getting banged up, have 19 targets in a single game? That's insane.
I don't disagree. With
Eric says great running game not being used, and I would agree with that. I think that was one of the biggest downfalls of their game this weekend was not utilizing the run game, having Jared Goff throw the ball 55 times, and seeing that. This is another thing I'm anxious to see, Chris. And we talked about it before.
Yep.
What happens with Lions fan when Jared Goff, when the clock hits 12 and he turns into a pumpkin again, and he's Jared Goff again? What happens when that happens, and if that happens? Because in this game, he was Jared Goff again.
He was, but to Frank's point, and he made this actually during the game, and he's right about this. When that dude gets pressured, it's not good. It's not good.
That's not what Lions fans would have told you.
Of course not, because everything's sunshine and rainbows.
Jared Goff is Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Jared Christ.
Jared Christ. That's Jesus' brother. Him and Craig. Craig Christ.
It's Jesus' long lost illegitimate brother.
That's right.
Jared Christ.
Moving on to the Jets-Titans game. This game was absolute trash. I'm sorry, it was.
Which one was that?
The Jets-Titans.
Jets-Titans.
Yes. But Will Levis, dude, stop throwing the ball backwards. What's wrong with you? Even the coach called you out on this. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like what? Why?
Why do you keep doing it? You've done it 2 weeks in a row. Stop.
Yeah, not a very good game. If I'm looking at this, I look at Aaron Rodgers was encouraging as far as like a guy coming off of an Achilles injury who's like 40-some years old.
Yes.
98.8 rating. Only passed for 176, but had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 18 of 30.
Is that what he is now?
It's encouraging. He's like 39 or 40.
No, but is that like what type of quarterback he is now? Like he's going to throw between like 180 and like 250.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Well, you've got a good enough run game too, and in
do.
this game, you actually saw you have another good running back on this team.
Yeah.
Breece Hall isn't the only guy there anymore. You've got Braden Allen, who actually had 2 touchdowns. Talk about robbing your starting running back of some points there, right? But he had 2 touchdowns. One of them was a pass from Aaron Rodgers. The other one was a rush. One was a rush for 20 yards. The other one was a 12-yard touchdown.
Yep.
They have offensive weapons there, man. They've got Zerline. I think they actually will be a team to be reckoned with, despite that Week 1 hiccup that they had.
But we kind of said that before the season started. Like, I picked them to win the division.
And after the week 1 game, I did too, yeah.
Yeah.
But when after the week 1 game, we said, listen, it's week 1.
Yeah.
They're going to right the ship. And I believe they will. I think they're going to rely on that.
I think they will too.
They're going to do what the Lions didn't do. They're not going to overwork Aaron Rodgers because at this point, I think they know what he is. They have a good running back. They have a good run game. They're going to rely on that run game. They're going to rely on their young running backs and not put the weight on the shoulders of their older quarterback. They're going to let him just pick his spots and basically, again, 20 to 30 passes a game. Pick your spots, go through your reads, make the open throw.
Yeah.
Don't force the football. You get wins, especially with a defense like they have.
That is correct. You know who else wins?
Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank.
That's right. If you're a homeowner or looking to be a first-time home buyer, give Jason Stiltner, Senior Loan Officer at Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631. Jason has great mortgage programs for first-time home buyers, including down payment assistance options and excellent interest rates. Again, give my guy, Jason Stiltner from Flagstar Bank, a call today at 248-752-3631 and get the excellent service you deserve. Flagstar Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546.
Sports on Tap.
Good one. Nice. Moving on to the Niners-Vikings game. Again, Vikings, are they good? I don't know. Is Sam Darnold good? I don't know. Who fucking knows, man?
I mean, I'm not saying Sam Darnold's good, but I'm saying he's playing really well right now.
He is playing really well.
109.1.
He's playing in a system that suits him.
And listen, so it goes back to what I told you about, like, are some of these quarterbacks being ruined coming into the NFL out of college, not being able to play like they did in college?
Yeah.
And then they get drafted to these shitty-ass teams that don't utilize them properly, don't coach them up properly, and don't put them in winning situations. And then all of a sudden they move on. And some of these guys, not all of them, Zach Wilson will never be a starting quarterback in the NFL. But you see Sam Darnold, and he shows flashes of being a really good quarterback. Not great, but a good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, was he just thrown into a situation out of college where he wasn't the best anymore, and the coaching staff and the team didn't set him up to succeed?
Maybe.
I'm not saying that's the case. It's just a question to be posed, right?
Nobody knows.
But he's playing really well right now.
I don't think it's a question that'll ever be able to be answered properly because
No,
nobody knows.
Because every case is different too, and you can't say, well, this guy would have been good if. But
right.
in this case, you look at it, and here we have two different cases in one person, right?
Right.
Looked like shit. Was literally said he was seeing ghosts,
He did. Yes, he did.
and then now he's playing lights out. He's playing really well.
Worried about the 49ers at all? I know they got a lot of injuries. You think they'll be fine?
I would say no. I think they'll be all right. They have a good enough defense. They have a good enough team. Even if they don't win the division,
Yeah.
they'll make the playoffs and they'll be ready for a run. I mean, listen, they're getting their injuries out of the way now, right?
Right.
Brandon Ayuk is rusty.
Yeah.
He missed all training camp. Debo's out for a few weeks. McCaffrey's out for at least 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
No, I think they will make the playoffs. They might muddle into the playoffs, but they'll make the playoffs. They have a good enough team.
I don't know. I see like this Mason character. He had another good game. 20 carries, 100 and a T.
Yeah, I mean they've because their offensive line is good.
Yep.
Trent Williams. That's all I have to say. Trent Williams.
Yeah. I guess pretty good. These next 2 games couldn't care less about the Seahawks, Patriots, and Giants, Redskins. Do not care. Do not care. Especially the Giants, Redskins. Really don't care about that. Chargers, Panthers. Anything involving the Panthers, I don't give a shit about. Do you give a shit about it?
Panthers, no. Other than the fact that well, maybe not anymore because Andy Dalton's going in there, but he's an old man.
Yeah.
I
Like the Chargers.
I would have said if you're in fantasy, play any team's defense playing Carolina.
Yeah.
There's a couple other teams that are like that too, though. I
Yeah.
mean, if you could pick a team playing Denver, I would do that.
Yeah. But like the Chargers, they're playing exactly how we said they were going to play. They're running the ball. J.K. Dobbins, please stay healthy because he's actually having a hell of a year so far. Please stay healthy.
He's who we thought he could be right now, and if he stays healthy,
Stay healthy.
But yeah, he looks really
He
good.
looks
That
really
run
good.
game looks really good.
It does, and they're playing defense.
That's why they drafted Joe Alt instead of Malik Neighbors,
Oh,
right? I mean, that's
his nickname is Control Alt Delete.
is it really?
Yes,
That's awesome.
That's pretty solid. That makes sense. I love
but
it.
no, they're playing. They got a run game. They're running the foot. It's the trenches for him, right? That's Harbaugh.
Weird. It works.
It does.
Crazy. How'd you feel about your Brownies against the Jags?
Didn't look good, but got the win. I really have not much to say about it, other than that. I mean, Deshaun looked a little better.
Yeah.
No picks. I mean, he didn't throw a touchdown either, but no picks.
All right.
He got a rushing touchdown,
He did.
but that from the 1 fucking yard line. Because looking at him now running, he can't outrun you and I. So that's bad.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, listen. There's not much I can say about it. They beat a now 0-2 Jags team. They're 1-1. They look like shit against Dallas, and Dallas looked like shit against New Orleans. So I'm not sure how good they are. I can tell you, Deshaun Watson still does not look good, and I would not be surprised if Jameis Winston starts a game here within the next 4 or 5 weeks.
All right. Raiders taking out the Ravens. The Ravens, man. Why do they blow so many fucking leads? It's
don't know.
amazing how many
They're-
leads they blow.
They're 0-2
For what we consider like an elite team.
Yeah. They're 0-2 for
Good
only the
Lord.
second time in John Harbaugh's career.
It's amazing how many leads that team blows, especially when you have the MVP on your team, and I use that in quotations because I don't think he's the MVP.
Yeah.
And always with a good defense too. It's amazing to me how many times they blow leads. I don't understand it. I really don't. And especially now when you have Derek friggin' Henry. I know he's on the backside of his career, but dude.
They blow so many leads, their nickname should be Hawk Tua.
Anyways. Moving on. Cardinals dump truck the Rams, which I didn't necessarily see that coming. I thought the Cardinals
I
might
didn't
win
either.
that game, but not like that. Like, that was an ass kicking.
I thought they'd be competitive. I actually thought the Rams would win. The Rams were like a 1.5 point favorite. I thought they might win by a field goal.
Yeah, that was
But Arizona, yeah, they garbage canned them. I mean,
They really did.
They literally just stuffed them in a garbage
like
can.
we said, Kyler Murray realized he had Marvin Harrison Jr. and says, "Hey, let me throw it to that guy."
Well, and even
And
the
we'll
week before
probably
that,
win.
where he didn't throw it to him, he still had a good game.
He
and It's
did.
like, this is the Kyler Murray that people thought should be there all the time.
Until
And
Call of
may-
Duty
and-
like, got in his
Well,
way.
and you know what? Listen, he had some injuries, and so maybe he's fully recovered from that, and he's fully committed to football. But he looks really fucking good right now.
He does. So we'll see.
And
if
my
that continues.
my backing of Kyler Murray before the season started is looking really good.
Yes,
right
it
now.
is. You were definitely on board the not only his train but just the Cardinals in general. You said they were going to be better.
And I want to give a shout out to the MVP of the National Football League right now, playing for Houston, and it's not C.J. Stroud, it's Kaimi Fairbairn. The kicker for that team he's won both the first games for him, and he's won me all my fantasy games because I drafted him in all 4 of my leagues. The guy is just lights out from 50
I can
fucking
never,
yards an
nor
hour.
will I ever back a kicker ever.
This guy is fucking amazing right now. The streak
He's better than the Redskins kicker who kicked fucking 7 field goals.
Kaimi Fairbairn has kicked like 7 or 8 50-yard field goals so far in 2 games. The dude is lights out. It's nuts. He kicked one from 59, and it could have made it from like 70.
That's what these kickers now, man. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, these kickers now, they like 65 is just like, yeah, okay.
Watching him line up to kick these field goals, the dude is just there's no question in his mind. He's walking out there and he's going to kick it right down the
Like
center.
you see it, and it used to be like, there's no way he's fucking making this. Now when these guys go out there, you're like, yeah, I can see him making this. Absolutely, I can see him
You
making
could
this.
shrink the goalposts by a foot or 2 feet on each side, and this motherfucker
Make
would
him
still kick it down
like
the
the
middle.
arena football goalposts.
Yeah,
There you go.
This guy would still make it.
I think they should
It's
absolutely
nuts.
do that anyway.
I mean,
think
they're
they're great.
There's been discussions in the media about that happening because these guys are kicking so many long field goals, and they're not. It's not like they're barely making it.
Oh,
It's
no,
not like
they're-
they're making it to the right or the left.
A bunch of room to spare.
I mean, they're making it dead nuts
Yeah.
down the middle, and with like 10 yards to spare, if not more. It's insane.
Like, because oddly enough, I was listening to another interview today. They talked with former kicker Shane Graham, and he this is what he does. He like coaches kickers, and they asked him how did it become how these kickers are getting so good? And he goes, frankly, it's just they work out now. It's not just like you come off the soccer field and you just start kicking. No, these guys work out now, working out their legs and lower body so they can get and they're learning how to kick now. There's a certain way that if you kick it, you don't kick it as far. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're doing it properly now, which is like, okay, well, I understand that. So there you go.
There's a little more science behind
There
it.
There is absolutely a little bit more science to it. Yes. Steelers Broncos again. Steelers. Okay, I actually think their defense is really good.
Yeah, they are.
Their offense still leaves a lot to be desired.
For sure.
But yeah, I think their defense is really good. And that's going to have to be the way they win. Is their defense.
Here's the opposite of what the Lions did. Najee Harris.
Yeah.
He averaged 4.1 yards a carry. They handed the ball to him 17 times.
Yep.
Justin Fields was 13 of 20 for 117 yards and a touchdown at a 97.3 rating, and they reeled him in and didn't let him really throw the ball. And he had a big gainer called back on a penalty, which was probably about a 60-yarder called back.
Yep.
They actually had quite a few plays in that game. Pittsburgh, it was almost like the refs in that game got a commission for every yard they took back from Pittsburgh in that game. It was crazy how many penalties took away yards for Pittsburgh on that offense, but their passing game was working. They just kind of decided to not really use it too much and just coast to a victory. They didn't really. It almost like they didn't try.
Hey, know your strengths.
Yeah, they just
Know your strengths.
They were like,
and play to it.
They're like, yeah, listen. They went out there. They got a lead, and it's like they got that 7-point lead and basically looked at it and went, "It's Denver. We don't need any more than that."
Honestly,
and as it was, they really didn't because they held Denver to 6 points.
Like I said, that defense is really good.
They just coasted.
They did. Bengals Chefs. Typical Bengals Chefs game.
Yeah, and I'm mad I picked Kansas City with the spread in that game because every one of Kansas City Cincinnati's games comes down to a field goal.
Yep.
And I'm really mad that went out of my head. And just the recency bias of Cincinnati looking so bad in week 1 was in my head.
Yep.
And I didn't think it through. And in hindsight, I look at that and I go, "You're a fucking idiot."
Burrow looked better. Obviously, the Bengals look better than they did in week 1, which we all kind of thought was going to happen. Jamar Chase, you can't take that penalty. Like, what are you doing?
No.
You can't do that. Like, that's just. But credit to Burrow for getting in his face and be like, "Dude, stop." I mean, but it was kind of too late at that point. But still, at least he got in his face and was like, "Hey, you can't. You're fucking us over, dude. Stop."
Yeah.
I kind of get why he was upset because this goes against everything I thought in the offseason about this hip drop tackle. Like, they are not calling this. Like, at
They're
all.
not at all.
At all. Like, literally, they are not calling this at all. And I thought for the we said, the first 5 or 6 weeks, that's all they were going to do was call it.
And they haven't called. I haven't seen a single.
I have not seen one hip drop tackle flag at all.
And there's been a couple of them that I've seen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That were
Joe
clearly.
Mixon got one that he got hurt on.
Oh, that's actually the one
Yeah.
he got. Yeah, he got hurt on a. Yeah, that's exactly the play that he got hurt on.
And he called the NFL out. He goes, "Dude, if you guys said you were going to call this shit, call it." I don't know. I haven't seen one, but I have a feeling that's gonna change here shortly.
Well, after Mixon getting hurt and calling out the league, I have a feeling it is going to change a little bit. We're going to start seeing it more.
Yep. No, I would agree with that. And more of that, but obviously the last play of the game for the Chiefs and the Bengals, obviously it was pass interference. He got there. Yeah. He got there early.
Oh, it absolutely was pass interference.
And yes, I know. Obviously, the optics of it don't look great because the Chiefs always get bailed out, and they do get bailed out quite a bit. There's no denying that they do.
They do, but on that one,
that was pass interference. It just was. I understand somewhat of the bitching is because it's so inconsistent how that is called.
My only problem with it is, and we can't prove this, but I would say, does Cincinnati get that call if it's reversed?
That's my point. That's exactly my point.
That would be my argument.
Yeah.
There is, Was that a penalty? Yes.
Yeah.
Would Cincinnati have gotten the call?
It's hard for me to say that they would because we've seen it.
I don't know.
I don't know. I can't say for like, should they get that call? Fuck yeah, because that's pass interference.
I think everybody should get that call
Yes.
because that was clearly pass interference.
but we've seen it so many times with how the Chiefs get bailed out by shit like that.
Well, and I've seen it so many times where at the end of the game, teams don't get that call.
yeah, yeah.
And it's like, all right, why do the Chiefs always get that call when that was the right call?
It was.
But why are there other teams that don't get that call as well?
Well, another thing that bothers me about that play is they missed blatant holding on that play too. Like blatant holding. Guy was like literally had his arm around the dude's neck, but didn't see that. I don't know. I'm so tired of them always getting fucking bailed out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like okay, but it is what it is. Good game. I like seeing those two teams play. It's just because it generally comes down to stuff like that. It's
Yep.
a good game. So, Bears Texans. I don't think there's anything truly special out of that game.
No. Other than, like I said, other than Fairbairn. I mean,
Yeah.
that guy is just lights out. 56-yarder, 47-yarder, 59-yarder, 53-yarder.
Yep.
I mean, he had three or four 50-yarders in that one. I think he had 3 or 4 the week before. This guy's lights out. He's been their MVP so far because that offense is good enough to move the ball, but they're getting stopped at a certain point. And at this point in time, as long as they're on their side of the field, nothing is out of range for this guy.
Which is
So they're
kind
kicking it.
of weird that is the case, that they're getting stopped at a certain point given all the offensive weapons they have on it. At some point, do you think maybe they have too many offensive weapons?
I said that from the very beginning.
know?
That's why. Now, it looks like Nico Collins is the clear number one there.
Yeah, 8 catches, 135 and a touch. Yeah,
And Stephon Diggs is the number 2. Tank Dell is a castaway.
yeah.
Tank Dell is utilized on wide receiver runs, basically, end rounds, and then an occasional random pass after Stroud's made his way through the first 3 reads or 2. But it's something to be considered. Like, I mean, Mixon only had 9 carries for 25 yards. You know, the run game kind of got shut down. I don't know. For the first 2 games, though, they're moving the football. They're just not putting it in the end zone.
I'm sure they'll figure that out at some point.
I'm sure they will.
But so far, it hasn't hurt them.
But they will consistently move the football, and with a guy like Fairbairn who's just hitting everything, they will at least score points every week.
I mean, granted, you were going up against Caleb Williams, which I'm sorry. I'm sticking to my guns on this one. I don't see it. I really don't. He's not that guy.
So you know how we talk about we just talked about it a little bit ago.
We did.
So quarterbacks come into the league, they're not ready.
Do they have it?
Right. Well, but so the other quarterbacks that we were talking about,
Yeah.
like they get drafted to shitty ass teams, right? By all accounts, Chicago's not a shitty team. Their defense is better than it was. They have offensive weapons all around.
Has a rookie
Yet
quarterback
he's still not. Yet he still doesn't look good.
has a rookie quarterback drafted that high ever come into a better situation?
I'd have to look through history and see, but I would say I don't think so.
Like the fact that you actually just had to look back in history kind of says all I need to know. Is that no? Probably most likely no.
Probably not.
So
I can't say 100%.
Right.
But probably
But,
not.
Yes, you're most educated guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
This is the best situation that like a number 1 pick at quarterback has ever come into. You know, you have the weapons, you have a decent team. Like, you should be better than this.
Yes.
And you just see it. He's running around, like, yeah. At USC last year, the guy would be open like 2 yards. He's open. You hit him. Now,
Yeah.
no, you wait too long, and it's gonna get picked or knocked down or what? Or you're gonna get sacked.
Yep.
It's not ideal, but we'll see how
It's ugly. Honestly,
it
it's
really
ugly.
is. Some of his throws are just like, dude, like okay. And then the Monday Nighter, Falcons Eagles. Oof, that is a shitty way to lose for the Eagles. Good God, man.
Well, and we already talked about it. That
did.
play call at the end of the game for the Eagles where they're throwing the football when all you had to do was run.
don't understand it.
You had 3 yards to go, run the football. Even if you don't get it, kick a field goal. But Run the clock down.
Run the clock.
What are you doing?
Especially Saquon, he's averaging like 5+ yards a carry. Run the
What
ball.
the fuck?
I know they're stacking the box. I understand that. I get it. But run the ball anyways.
At a certain point in time, you trick yourself out of winning.
You do. Because, like, that play that they ran, literally it's 50-50. Either he catches it and the game's over. Cool. But there's too much shit that can go wrong there.
Yeah, but Saquon was getting 4.3 a carry.
Yeah.
Why are you not handing it to him? Well, and I can even look at that for Atlanta too. Why they didn't give and they gave Bijan the ball, but like he had 14 carries for 97 yards, 6.9 a pop. Why are you not handing him the football more? Why are you not giving him the football? Get him the football.
It's amazing some of these coaches, they just way overthink shit. Like, way overthink it.
Well, that's because everybody touts the next up-and-comer who can be flashy and,
Right.
and does all these, out-of-the-box things. And it's like, oh, this is the next up-and-coming guy. But sometimes just doing the shit that works.
Keep it simple, stupid. Like, honestly, keep it simple, stupid.
Just do the shit that
Yeah.
works, man.
No, I'm with you. You know what else works?
The Joe Wright Group.
That's right. Whether you're buying or selling your home, now is the time to take advantage of having the expertise of 3 real estate agents for the price of 1 on your side. Make the right move with the right group, the Joe Wright Group. Give Craig Joe Wright, Mike Bush, and Shane Wilson a call today at 248-535-4750 to fulfill all of your real estate needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I do have a couple questions for you, Joe. If you would like
Okay.
to. So, what 0-2 team currently can and will make the playoffs?
Baltimore.
That's it.
Well, I didn't know you wanted more than that.
Well, all right.
So
that's what
one-
I'm asking you. Like how out of the 0-2 teams right now,
Okay.
which ones can and or will make the playoffs?
Okay. Let me see here. So, if I'm looking at 0-2 teams,
Yes.
Denver, no way.
Not a chance.
Baltimore, yes.
Okay.
Cincinnati, maybe.
Because I saw the stat, like if you start 0-2, the percentage you make in the playoffs is
Yeah.
like really not good. But Cincinnati does this every year, so I would tend to think, yeah, they'll make it.
Baltimore, for me, is a given. I think they'll turn it around. They'll make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I thought Tennessee was going to be better. I would say no on them. I think Indianapolis has a shot if they can right the ship.
Giants, obviously not.
And if I move over to the NFC, Giants, no way. I think they might end up having the number 1 overall pick. In all honesty,
Yep, I can see that.
Rams, too many injuries. No.
Okay.
Carolina, absolutely not.
Yep.
So, no. I'm going to go with definitely Baltimore, maybe Cincinnati, and maybe Indianapolis.
Okay. Baltimore for sure. I'd say Cincinnati for sure, because again, they do this every fucking year. So they know how to dig themselves out of that hole. I don't see the Colts doing it. I don't see the Jags doing it, and I don't see the Titans doing it. Denver, obviously, no. Giants, no. Obviously, the Panthers, no. And the Rams, you're right. I think just with all these injuries, I don't see that happening either. So those are the ones I see kind of getting out of this rut.
And
But-
I hate to say it, but I think I was right. I think Kieran Williams is a one-hit wonder.
Okay.
I don't think he's the running back everybody thought he was.
Now, on the flip side, what 2-0 team currently will miss the playoffs?
Another tough question. Let me look at that.
I'm looking at this. For me, I think the Vikings will miss the playoffs. I think the Saints will miss the playoffs.
I think the Steelers will miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence on that one, just because their defense is like really good. I think, and I think that'll keep them in. And for me, it's one of the. It's. I don't know if I believe in Seattle, man. I don't. I think the Niners are better. I think the Cardinals are better.
I think Seattle will make it. I think they have a good
Yeah?
enough defense.
Okay.
Geno looks pretty good again.
Yeah.
If They have a good run game. Like, listen, they have Walker, who did miss a game, but he looked good in the first game, and then they had Charbonnet, who actually looked good filling in for him.
Right.
I would say Minnesota probably doesn't make the playoffs. I'm with you on that one. And I'm not sold on New Orleans.
Neither am I. I'm not sold on New Orleans either.
They've looked really good through 2 games, but I'm not sold on it.
I think once teams get more tape on this and how they're going to run their offense, it's still Derek Carr back there. Remember that, guys. It's still Derek Carr behind center. So,
Yeah, I just and I think, like I said, I'm not sold on Pittsburgh either. They have a good defense. I'm just not sold that they're going to continue this throughout the season. They have a brutal division.
yes, they do. Yes, they do. And then the stat that I saw, which I found kind of odd, like since 2018, Patrick Mahomes has had 17 interceptions called back by penalty, which is quite a bit, I think.
Quite a few.
It's quite a few. I guess half of them are on, offsides calls or whatever. But that just seems to be
And that's a stat that's a little misleading, right?
It is.
Because when the defense jumps offside,
You just
a
chuck
lot
it.
of times you just
Yeah, you
chuck
chuck
it,
it,
and you try and get a pass interference, or you
Right.
try and get a big play. So yeah, if they pick it off then and then it's a called back interception, obviously that's not right. But a little bit misleading, but
bit.
also that's a lot.
You got anything else on NFL stuff that you want to hit?
No, I was just gonna talk about some of these injuries,
Yeah.
like just to hit on the fantasy side of this. You know what I mean? Just a couple things is if you're looking for somebody, if you had Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua, and you're looking for a guy, I think Jordan Whittington in that offense will actually. He's a guy you probably haven't heard of, and if you have heard of him, you're just a diehard football fan. But
Right.
he has a chance to be the Puka Nacua of last year on that team.
Yeah.
He flashed in the preseason. He hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity, but he made a really good grab this last weekend when he got more opportunity. I don't see the other 2 guys on that team, Robinson and I believe it's Taylor. I don't see them being the answer, and I think he's got enough. He's got enough athletic ability, and he looked good enough. He's a better receiver when he gets out there and plays. I think you're going to see him, and you could possibly get some go out of him for a while,
Right.
until Kupp and Nacua come back. Pacheco down. The next guys up are Carson Steele and Samaje Perine.
Oh.
But they did just sign Kareem Hunt. I think a lot of people are going to be jumping to sign Kareem Hunt or to get him off the waiver wire,
Yeah.
spend their fab on him. I would reel that in a notch if I were you guys. I mean, the guy wasn't signed to a team. There's probably a reason for that. They signed him to the practice
It's
squad.
the corpse of Kareem Hunt.
Like, Dalvin Cook was signed to the practice squad before the season started, and he still isn't off the practice squad. Kareem Hunt, even if he gets called off the practice squad before, 2 weeks are up, he's going to be sharing time with those other 2 guys.
He's not going to be the main guy.
He's not going to be the main guy there. No. He's going to be a piece out of 3.
Right.
Don't rush out there and spend all your money on him, man. Just don't do it. Brandon Ayuk owners, you're now in a great situation. Deebo Samuel is down. They're down Christian McCaffrey.
He's going to be the guy.
Brandon Ayuk is the guy, and as long as he can get that rust knocked off of him, he's going to be all right going from here on out. I know everybody was looking to trade him or get rid of him or bounce him. Don't. You're in a good situation now. Do pick up Juwan Jennings as the other receiver on San Francisco. If you need a receiver, he will get some go now that both those other 2 receiving threats are out for a while.
Right.
And I think that is about all I wanted to hit on that. Obviously, Devontae Smith is the guy with A.J. Brown down.
Mm-hmm.
I think Goddard might get a little more play here. He hasn't really done well for you as a tight end, I know, but he might get a little more play. Jahan Dotson literally just got traded to them 2 weeks before the season started.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect too much out of him. He is the next guy in line, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot out of him. I wouldn't rush out there to pick him up and think you're going to get A.J. Brown numbers or even close to that.
Right. In a little college, obviously, Michigan game this past weekend, they look like shit again.
No.
Davis Warren, I'm sorry, not the guy. But this coming up this week, they are starting Alex Orji, which, again, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I really don't. with
I don't
USC
either.
with the USC coming in. And even that defense, I saw a stat that they only blitzed roughly 27% of the time last year, and then this year it's up to like almost 50. That's a problem. You don't have the defense to do that. You just don't. Stop blitzing, Wink. Like,
Stop.
I mean, obviously you can, but you can't do it like half the time. You know, your defense is not built for that this year. It just isn't. So maybe figure that out. But yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in Alex Orgy. I really don't. But Davis Warren, some of the passes he threw this past week, I was like, who the fuck are you even throwing the ball to, man? There's nobody even there.
Where was that supposed to go?
But his elbow got touched. I don't care if his elbow got touched. There was literally nobody in that picture that he was throwing the ball to.
They breathed on him.
Like, dude, yeah, they're in trouble. They're in big time trouble. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. I did have a quick baseball one I want to bring up for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Tigers are only 1.5 back, which I'm very excited about.
Same.
And if they can somehow pull that out, good God, like that'll be fucking amazing.
A fucking miracle almost.
It would be an absolute fucking miracle, and it'd be a colossal collapse by the Twins.
Yes.
But if they can somehow pull this off, I mean, that's fantastic. But if it does happen, I think it's already to that point, and we've talked about this a few episodes
well, and they're
ago.
winning right now. They're playing the Royals right now.
saw
They're
it,
winning
1-0.
1-0.
But we talked about this a few episodes ago. That, you know, if they continue on this path, and obviously they have, and especially if they make the playoffs,
Yeah.
this will force him to spend money. He has to.
Listen, if they make the playoffs and he doesn't spend money, he might have somebody might burn his house down.
Like, seriously, you're there, guy. There's no more excuses. Like, you can't keep on with we're not ready. Blah, blah. No, you're there. This team has competed. They're going to go up roughly to the final days of the regular season competing for a playoff spot. And they may even get in. And if you come out this offseason and say, like, oh, well, I don't, we're not there. We're still not quite there yet. Then, honestly, get fucked. As simple as that, get fucked. This fan base is going to turn on you big time. That's not going to end well for you, Chris. So,
well, and the only problem they're going to run into here is they're a game and a half back, but
2.5 with the tiebreaker.
Minnesota owns the tiebreaker,
Yeah,
so
so
they're actually 2.5 back.
Yep.
You got to add a game of what they're actually back, and that's the bad part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they have a shot.
They do, which, again, 2 months ago, did we think they would have a shot?
No,
We just wanted competitive games in September. We've gotten that, and I'm very excited about that. I'm happy about that. Like, I actually, I'm very excited about that. It's like, yes, you root for this team. I'm not going to
well, they've got 11 games left.
Yeah.
One of them they're playing right now. They're beating Kansas City right now.
Yeah. And even how they came back last night. Like, the first
Right.
game against Kansas City. Like,
Yeah,
that's
they've got the Royals again tomorrow night.
Yep.
And the Royals are not a very good team.
Yeah, they are. They're in the playoffs right now.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. They're ahead of the Tigers.
What? Every time I've ever seen them this year, they've looked like shit. So I don't know.
No, they argue they have a MVP candidate in Bobby Witt Jr., who's a friggin' stud.
Well, they're okay. They're
Maybe
they're just in.
right, but they're in.
Yeah, they're like 2 games ahead of the
Yeah,
Tigers.
but they are in.
They are in.
So, I mean, if they can somehow keep this rolling, and people are trying to say it's like 2006 vibes. No, it isn't.
No,
It's not 2006.
they don't have the
vibes.
team that they had in
They
2006.
don't. Yeah, is there certain elements? Yes. How they can come back and how they don't quit? Yes. That'll give you. But there was something special
Well, it's a
about
shame this wasn't there in the first half of the season.
I know.
Because they wouldn't have to be coming
that.
down to the last.
People were like, well, what if they didn't trade Flaherty? And I'm like, it wouldn't have mattered, guys. It would not have made one bit of fucking difference.
They're leading the league in like every pitching category. What else would Flaherty have done?
Honestly, it was smart to trade him.
Yeah.
And get what you could get for him. Like, I don't know.
They're
what to tell you
still
guys.
leading the league in like every or at least they're in like the top 5 in every category in pitching.
Yeah.
In the entire league.
But they're the ones that is funny though. Ever since like Javi was basically done for the season, this is when they kind of went on their tear. Like literally, like the day after. Like, maybe he should have been playing at all for this team. Maybe they should have bought him out. Some point during the season. Nah. But anyways, The one topic I did want to bring up for the MLB is should Major League Baseball unify the MVP award instead of having like a National League MVP and an American League MVP?
I don't know.
I think
Can
yes.
can I go with I don't care?
Well, that's fair. It's just a question. I don't know.
I know.
I think
I'm gonna
yes.
take. I'm gonna take your answer.
Yes.
I don't care.
Fair. All right, good.
I nothing this.
It's a question I heard. I'm like, you know what? All right. I thought about it, and the answer for me is a quick yes, because every other sport has a unified MVP. And if you really think about it, there's no true American and National League anymore because it's all interleague play. So yeah, unify it. Why not? Like, you could have it where it's who are you going to vote for? Are you going to vote for Judge or are you going to vote for Ohtani? But you can't now. We know who's going to win in each league. It's going to be Ohtani in the National and Aaron Judge in the American League. Like, it could be who's going to actually win it. Who would you vote for and why? I don't know. I think it should just a thought. But anyways,
Well, I'm talking about the Tigers. The bad thing is they have Baltimore coming up next.
yep. But they just did take two or three from Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah, they just took 2 or 3 from Baltimore. They got to travel to Baltimore after their next 2 games in Kansas City.
Yep.
And then they finish out the season with Tampa Bay at home 3 games and Chicago at home 3 games.
Okay. Let's keep it going, fellas. Shit. Anyways. Do you want to hit the picks?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Let's hit the
Yeah.
This segment is brought to you by the Joe Wright Group.
It's time!
I don't even want to know, but I know you're going to tell me anyway.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
So, you and Eric won the week on
Really?
on the college picks. On the college picks.
All right.
So for the college picks, you went 5-3, and so did Eric.
Okay.
Frank and I both went 4-4.
Okay.
So very mid. NFL picks, not so much. You and I led the week at 3-7 for NFL picks.
God, man, we're terrible at this.
Frank went 2-8, and Eric, if you're still listening, bro, you went 1-9 in the NFL picks.
All right.
Not very good. You were talking to me today about how you've hit some bets this year and you're up for the year. Congratulations on that, because you cannot pick shit in the picks.
Yeah, that's not good.
As long as you're betting not like you're picking in the picks for the show,
Yeah.
we're good.
All right.
Or you're good.
Yeah.
So for the year, both Frank and I are 17-23-1.
Yeah.
And you and Eric are 15-25-1. So I'm tied with Frank for the lead, and you are tied with Eric for number 2.
Right. Okay.
And basically, we're all taking a number 2 when we pick.
I would say we are. All right. So coming into this week, obviously none of us are doing very well. So let's try to have a better week this week, fellas. And we'll start off the college slate with the Nebraska Cornhuskers taking on Illinois. Are they called the Fighting Illini anymore, or are they just Illini? I don't know. Is it what's PC to say now? I have no.
They're
idea.
not. Are you not allowed to say fighting?
I guess not.
So is Notre Dame not the Fighting Irish anymore? They're just the Irish.
I think they are actually.
So
I think that's real. Frank, we have to have Frank get on this one because he might know.
I don't know.
I think they did change it to just the Irish.
just the Irish.
I think so.
So they just
Yeah.
so
'Cause
their mascot no longer has
You're
the
right.
fist like this. He
It's-
just has a beer in his hand.
It's
and
too
like,
offensive.
Okay, gotcha.
Too offensive, I guess. Anyways, so yeah, Illinois taking on Nebraska. Nebraska's laying 9.5. We all took Nebraska.
I want my own ass.
Next up, we got Georgia Tech taking on Louisville. Louisville laying 10.5. Joe, you and I took Louisville. Eric and Frank took Georgia Tech.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but
After that, we got Utah laying 2, taking on Oklahoma State. Joe, you, me, and Frank took Oklahoma State. Eric, for some fucking reason, took Utah.
Everyone in this room is now dumber.
After that, we got Tennessee laying 7, taking on Oklahoma. You 3 took Tennessee. I took Oklahoma.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Probably the way my picks have gone this year. Probably. Next up, we got Kansas State laying 7, taking on BYU, the Fighting Mormons. We all took Kansas State.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Even though their Kansas State's quarterback looks like a fucking lesbian. It's weird.
Hey, Old Man River, zip it or I'll break your head.
The first time I saw a picture of their quarterback, I didn't know it was just a random picture. It wasn't like wearing any like equipment or anything. I'm like, is that a chick? I swear to God, it looks like a lesbian, 100%. After that, we got Michigan State taking on Boston College. Boston College is laying 6.5. We all took Boston College.
You gonna fuck on me?
Next, we got Miami laying 16.5, taking on Southern Florida. You guys all took Miami. I took Southern Florida.
Hey, bro, you mind putting on some pants? I find it a little weird I have to ask twice.
And rounding out the college schedule, we got USC rolling in Ann Arbor, laying 5.5, taking on Michigan. We all took USC.
I work with retards.
Which I can't believe Eric took USC. I'm very surprised about that. But I think he's kind of onto it that, Michigan's probably not very good. Good for you, Eric. Way not to have the homerism. I love it. All right, moving on to the NFL slate. First up, we got the Patriots taking on the Jets. The Jets are laying 6.5. Joe, you took the Jets. Eric took the Pats. Frank took the Jets. I took the Pats.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Except for herpes. That shit'll come back with you.
Next up, we got the Texans laying 3, taking on the Vikings. Joe, you took Houston. Eric took Minnesota. And Frank and I both took Houston.
Stop it, Chris. You're making it hard.
Still one of my favorite ones. Shit's funny. Next, we got the Chargers taking on the Steelers. The Steelers are laying 2. Joe, me and you took the Chargers. Eric and Frank took the Steelers.
You got a little wiener and some tiny nuts.
Next up, we got the Eagles taking on the Saints. The Saints are laying 1.5. Joe, you took the Eagles. The rest of us took the Saints.
Fuck you both.
After that, we got the Dolphins taking on the Sea Chickens. The Sea Chickens are laying 5.5. Joe, you and Eric both took the Dolphins. Frank and I both took the Sea Chickens.
Shut up. I hate you.
Next up, we basically got a pick'em game with Baltimore laying 1, taking on the Cowboys. Joe, you, me, and Eric took Baltimore. Frank took Dallas.
Never go full retard.
Nice. Next up, we got Kansas City laying 4.5, taking on Atlanta. You and I took Atlanta. Eric and Frank took KC.
You was farting in bathtubs and laughing your ass off.
Next up, we got the Redskins taking on the Bengals. The Bengals are laying 8. You and Eric took the Redskins. Me and Frank took the Bengals.
You're a loser.
Probably.
There you go.
Next, we got the Jaguars taking on the Bills. The Bills are laying 5.5. You guys all took Buffalo. I took Jacksonville.
You can't let that shit happen.
Yes, I can, because I just did. And the final game of the week, which is obviously the biggest game of the week, as it always is, the Detroit Lions laying 3, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Joe, you took Detroit. Eric took Arizona, which I'm, again, incredibly surprised about. Frank took the Lions, and I took Arizona. And that,
well, this
right
is
there,
awkward.
There you go.
Quebec, go ahead.
Nice. That's funny.
Yep, those are the picks. Hopefully, we have a better week than we had last week.
Ideally, that would be nice.
Because last week was a shit show.
It was not great.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
No.
All right, give us a like, a share, and a follow on our social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. Check out SOTDET.com. You can check out our fantasy rankings every week. I have put those up every week so far. I'll be putting them up again coming up tomorrow or Thursday. Check out our blogs. And also, while you're there, click on shop and buy some stuff. We would appreciate it. Again, that's SOTDET.com. On behalf of Chris, lady friend upstairs, Frank, who's somewhere, and Eric, who is listening. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today. No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No, 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 no!
Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye.
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
And you were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.